Hi, my name is Tynnacious and I am a Year 10 here at Tonga College. At a young age, I was exposed to violence not only towards my siblings and I, but mostly towards my dad. My dad was always a soft-spoken, hard-working, and the best dad I could ever ask for. I remember witnessing my dad getting beaten not only physically, but verbally too. There was countless nights where the yelling and screaming were non-stop while me and my older sister were laying in our beds waiting for it all to stop, but it really did. The pain and suffering my dad endured for 11 years still lingers in my mind constantly. When I was 5, my dad lost his job due to my mum not letting him go to work, and shortly after, my mum threatened my dad that he would never see my siblings and I ever again. Unfortunately, on February 28th, my dad took his own life and suddenly died on March 1st at 1:30 a.m. I don't remember much from that day. I only remember my mum being late from picking my siblings and I up from school, and when she showed up, she was a wreck. The following days were a blur, but I remember my older sister and I were constantly asking my mum each day, "Where is Dad?" but she stayed silent. We eventually had to move out of our house and were moving to various places with my mum's family. A while later, we were told my dad had passed away, and even though I was quite young and didn't have the best understanding of it all I remember was crying and wondering how. A few weeks later, my mum was rushing me and my siblings out of the place we were staying in our bare feet, quickly walking to our auntie and uncle's house. This is where we got told my older sister and I would be living with my nan and my 2 younger siblings would be living with my auntie. Due to the trauma my childhood left me, I grew up with mental health issues at an early age. Growing up, I've always remembered my dad telling me God is real, but I never knew who God was. Living with my nan was where I was first exposed to Christianity. I never really understood the concept behind it all, which led me not being interested in learning more about God, but I remember my nan taking my siblings and I to church every Sunday. I'd always say I was a Christian as I was growing up, but I was honestly just a lukewarm Christian. Fast forward to year 8 was when I first remember seeing Christian TikToks come up on my feed, which made me lean into my faith more with God. Year 9 was when my mental health was the worst and I started falling into bad habits like addiction and getting into trouble in school. In year 10, my friends brought me along to Fuse, where I met a wonderful community of people. I was introduced to Emma as my Fuse leader. Emma was a big impact on growing my faith with God and inspired me to want to learn more about God. Jono has also been an amazing influence on me and my journey with Christ, but thanks to my biggest inspiration, my nan, as she has always been the one to teach me about Christ growing up. In June this year, I went through my first heartbreak. This had a huge impact on my life, but made me realize that my priorities weren't where they were supposed to be. This made me really lean into my faith with God and crying out in prayer to God that I trust in His plan. Ever since, my faith has been stronger than ever and made me the person I am now. I wouldn't have wanted my life to go any other way, as I know God's plan is greater than mine. I am choosing to get baptized now to publicly declare my old life is buried through Christ and I am walking in a new life with Him. And a verse that I love to help me get through my hardships is John 16 verse 33. I have told you all this so that you may have peace in me. Here on earth you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart because I have overcome the world. This verse reminds me life was never meant to be easy, but God has a plan for me and will never leave me to fight my battles on my own.